Hi guys, we are back in Hosea, looking at chapters 8, 9, and 10 today. They kind of all go together. So God has been calling his people to repent through the prophet Hosea. And in chapters 8, 9, and 10, we see God warning of coming judgment over and over for their continued disobedience and falseness to him. So the opening verse of Hosea 8 instructs Israel to, quote, set the trumpet to your lips. So the prophet is telling them to sound the alarm among all of the land. And he tells them why. It says this, quote, one like a vulture is over the house of the Lord, because they have transgressed my covenant and rebelled against my law. So that's Hosea 8:1. So Hosea is warning his people that there is a vulture circling over them because of their sin. And this vulture represents their enemy, Assyria. Yet the people of Israel are holding hands with Assyria, right? They're besties now, but this is their enemy. So sin, it's just always the same thing. It always promises peace, friendship, and happiness while walking us directly into the path of destruction, danger, and death. So we know this, right? And that is where Israel was at this point in time. They were not repenting. They were holding hands with the enemy. So God says that they claim to know him, but everything they do proves otherwise. So yes, they have the knowledge of God. Well, they certainly should, right? They were his people. They were the only ones that did have that knowledge. But their actions are proving that they do not believe God in any way, shape, or form. They're doing everything against God. They're rebelling against God. So some of their sin included, as we've gone over before, choosing ungodly leaders, idol worship, sexual immorality, hiring ungodly allies, and building altars of sin. These are just things mentioned here in these few chapters, but we've been seeing this all through the book of Hosea, right? So just like Hosea's wife Gomer, they have played the whore and forsaken God, right? So God calls them a wild donkey wandering alone. Without looking to him, they failed to realize their own stubborn rebellion and how lost they were. And that's exactly how we are. Without consulting God, without praying, without cultivating our relationship with God and obeying him, we don't even realize the danger that we're in. We don't even realize the stupid things that we're doing. And we just get further and further into a place that is not good for us. And we don't even realize it while it's happening. And so lots of times we don't even know how lost we are until after the destruction of our lives is already happening. So that's what sin does. That's what rebelling against God does. So that's where Israel was at this point in time. And God promises to judge them for these behaviors, right? For these sins. And the ways in which he says he's going to judge them in these chapters is by disallowing their harvest, sending fire, punishing them, swallowing them up, causing them to writhe in pain, destroying them, and disciplining them. These are not good things, right? God says that they will return to Egypt where they were slaves, right? They'll be slaves again. They will eat unclean food and be defiled. They will have thorns where they sleep. They and their children will die. God will reject them as they have rejected him. So God even goes so far as to say, quote, I began to hate them because of the wickedness of their deeds, in Hosea 9:15. So these are not good things. No food, no freedom, no rest, no children, and no God to help them at all. So it doesn't get much worse than this on earth at least, right? So these are all the things that God says that he is going to do because of their rebellion and their sin. So therefore, as Hosea chapter 9 opens, Israel was told to rejoice not. We should not be laughing at this, guys, right? Don't be happy, don't be rejoicing, because this is what's coming. But they had no idea because they were lost and they did not believe that God was going to punish them. They didn't believe God at all, obviously, that they wouldn't be doing the things that they're doing. But they're told not to rejoice. And I mean, who would be rejoicing knowing that all the good things in their life are about to end, right? But they didn't believe God and they didn't believe that punishment was coming. So, but yet that's what God told them they should be looking forward to. If they refuse to change, these things are coming, guys. They're coming because of your sin. And a lot of people today, I think, are surprised when bad things happen, even though they completely deny God, hate God, don't listen to God, rebel against God. But that's what the Bible teaches us, right? It's the first principle of the Bible, which is sowing and reaping what you sow, right? And that's what God promises us, and that's what he promises people here. So as chapter 10 opens, God's people are told that they have false hearts, that they are guilty, and that God is about to destroy everything that they have built. He says they will be ashamed of their gross idolatry. And again, the first principle of the Bible will be evident. They will reap what they have sown. It says this in Hosea 10, 13, and 14. You have plowed iniquity. You have reaped injustice. You have eaten the fruit of lies. Because you have trusted in your own way and in the multitude of your warriors, therefore the tumult of war shall arise among your people, and all your fortresses shall be destroyed. So God's people are in a bad way. They are on the brink of total destruction because of their own deeds, because of their rebellion against God, because of their refusal to repent over these things that they've been doing. But they're still being given warning after warning by God's grace, by God giving them this prophet, Hosea, and his many prophetic words to them. Still, they do not repent. The laws of nature don't change. We reap what we sow. So if these people had known what was good for them, they would have stopped their sin and turned around and begged God's mercy, but they did not do that. So, but in Hosea chapter 11, I believe, next, God's going to reiterate his love for Israel and then continue warning and urging them to return to him. So you could just see the back and forth of a father who loves us. You know, he's so angry that he's at the point where he's saying, I began to hate you for your deeds. He's, preparing to destroy them because he's angry over their disobedience and their sin. But then he's coming back and, talking about how much he loves them and when he began to love them. So my takeaway from all of this is every warning God gives to us is grace, right? We know this. And being the parent of a rebellious child is hard. Being a rebellious child is hard because you're going to go to the school of hard knocks, right? If you continue on that path. But if you're the parent, I would encourage you to trust in God's grace. And if you're the rebellious child, I would encourage you to come back to the truth. While today is the day of salvation, right? We don't know how many days we have. So that's what I got for you today. I hope it was helpful,